Oh, good. Here we go. And I will do a little countdown. Uh, Three, two, one. Greetings and welcome to the July 2026. Wow, we're over halfway through the year, friends. July 2026. Let's talk. My name is John Raffaele. I'm the Director of Educational Services with the National Alliance for Direct Support Professionals, and I am so excited today because we are bringing you a topic, a subject that we haven't written much about, and we're thrilled to feature this particular topic this month, and you'll hear about that in a second. Real quickly, just a little housekeeping here. This is a pre-recorded Let's Talk session, so we're not live. I mean, well, Ama and I are alive, but we're not live in this presentation. It's been pre-recorded based on our scheduling difficulties, but nonetheless, please utilize the closed captioning, and we do have ASL interpretation services right here for you. Um, if you are interested in receiving copies of the International Journal for Direct Support Professionals, I will give you this address right now. Might as well. Give me an email, jraphael@nadsp.org, and we can get you a copy of the International Journal for Direct Support Professionals, and particularly this month's, which is what we're talking about today, which is, I just love the name of it, Who Advocates for the Advocates? Who advocates for the advocates? What burnout can teach us about supporting families and direct support professionals. And our author, who you're going to meet in just a couple seconds here, has really given incredible treatment to this intersection um, of, um, of how direct support professionals and families, how they work together, and their parallels. They're very much similar tasks in what they do when they're supporting people with disabilities. But for families, it's loved ones. For direct support professionals, it's your paid profession to do this work, which is very similar. But beyond that, there's also what goes on with families and with DSPs, as we all know, this thing called burnout. And so, what we're going to talk about today with Ama is this intersection and a lot more. But I think that's all the housekeeping. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. This is for those of you that are new with us, welcome. For those of you that know what we're doing here, if you know, you know, as they say on Facebook, right? If you know, you know. Yeah. If I Y K Y K whatever. For those of you that are new, um, this is a project, a program that's been going on for over a decade. We have done this monthly. These are what today is Let's Talk, which is a companion webinar, which is meant to be a dive deeper into a monthly thing called the International Journal for Direct Support Professionals. And once again, we have close to 13, 14 years of these issues of the International Journal. Um, and this is a joint venture. It's an international partnership between the National Alliance for Direct Support Professionals and Vita Community Living Services in Toronto, Canada. And uh, we do these free. We do these as a service and as a contribution to our field. And we're thrilled that you're here. So I think that's all the housekeeping. Let's get to it. So, Ama, Ama, who are you? Because, well, I know who you are. We want to know who you are because you got this fabulous picture there, but you're also on the little screen there. Um, Hi, Ama. Welcome. Who are you? And welcome. Tell us about yourself.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. And that's a very big question. Who are you? Right? I always tell people I wear many hats. And probably that is also good because that helps me with my mission. I'm a mom of three kids, two who have complex medical and developmental needs. I'm a researcher. A lot of my research is on burnout, parental burnout specifically. I'm also a mental health coach and a parenting coach.
Ooh,
So I wear many hats, and I'm a disability rights advocate. But putting everything together, I tell people when people ask me who are you, I tell people I am Ama Brew on a mission to empower parents and caregivers of children with disabilities and complex needs with transformative mental health coaching, self-efficacy training, tools, resources, community, building systems that support parents and caregivers so that they can feel empowered, capable, and feel like they are ready to step into their power as true, confident advocates for the people that they take care of and also advocates for themselves. So that's a brief summary of who I am, putting together everything that I do. I'm the founder of the Parent Forge, and that's the organization that I use. I call it, it's the tool, right? That's helping me fulfill the mission that I'm trying to fulfill here.
mhm. Well, it tells
Yeah.
it tells a tiny bit about Parent Forge. What is that? That's really very
Yeah.
interesting, and obviously
Yeah.
people can get to it with the address right there. At the end we'll give the address again, but tell us a little about Parent Forge, please.
Yeah. So, a forge is a place where raw material is heated and tempered and treated and molded into something beautiful, useful. We wear jewelry, right? Everything is done in a forge. You go to a blacksmith, a metalsmith, anybody who works with metal uses a forge. And so when I was thinking about building an organization that supports caregivers and parents, I said we need to build a transformative space, a space where every caregiver can show up and they can get all the tools, the resources, the support, the community, everything that they need so they can step out feeling very confident, prepared, and ready to do what they want to do. Right. And usually it's caring and supporting our family members. And I always tell people it still goes back to the people that we care for, so that the people that we care for can thrive and live, you know, beautiful lives and not just lives that's on survival mode, right? So the Parent Forge is an organization dedicated specifically to parents and caregivers of people with disabilities and complex needs. It's funny because I named it Parent Forge because initially I was thinking about parents, but as it evolves, I realized that it's not just parents, it's anybody who helps and supports people with disabilities. We are all caregivers at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and no, that's great. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing more about Parent Forge.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was connected to you, and we had a couple chats, and I immediately thought you would be a wonderful person, author for the International Journal, and we talked a little bit about what you could author on, and you nailed it. I mean, what we're going to talk about today is this incredible, uh, you know, just the whole idea of who advocates for the advocates. I mean, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That's what the National Alliance for Direct Support Professionals. That's essentially what we do, right? But
Yeah.
what does that mean? And we'll talk about that. But I think really and truly every day, families, particularly parents, right? Sometimes siblings, but oftentimes it's parents,
Mhm.
maybe grandparents, and direct support professionals. As I started out, they are they're the ones that are doing the lion's share of
Yes.
the work, the day to
Mhm.
day, right? The in the whatever in the weeds, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
right? And with that comes two things. I think one is a parent is a parent. Right? Parent,
Mhm.
you have there's a certain relationship, there's a role, but when you add to that, right, and you know it better than anybody, when you add to that
Mhm.
the needs that come with the complexities of raising a child or children for you with disabilities, that your role is blown apart.
Yeah.
What is it, right?
Yeah.
DSPs,
Mhm.
yeah, they're paid professionals, but even still, their role is very hard to clarify. And I think,
Yes.
and let's talk about that. And then also, we asked you to talk about was burnout. And that's like
Mm-hmm.
you're getting a darn thesis in that or whatever you're doing. And we want to talk about that also, what you're doing with that. But I mean,
Yeah.
burnout is something we hear a lot about. I don't think we know exactly how to define it. We kind of know what it looks like and what it feels like, but let's do. I think we can define it a little bit more. But also, what you did in the article, how you can mitigate that, how you can probably not
Yeah.
prevent it totally, but how you could address it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this. And here's the first question I'm going to throw at you here, which, by the way,
Okay.
you came up with the questions, and I just put them up. Um, your article suggests that burnout is not simply a family issue or workforce issue, but a caregiving issue. Tell us about that. Tell us about that. What?
Yes. Yes. What led me to that realization is that, I've experienced caregiving from different perspectives. First of all, I'm a mom, right, of kids with complex medical needs and developmental needs. My kids are they're twins and they're almost 10. They're turning 10 in December. So I've spent the past 10 years navigating therapies, medical appointments, school meetings, advocacy, all that. To add to it, I'm American now, but I migrated here from France, but I'm originally from Ghana in West Africa. And living away from extended family, I always tell people that the DSPs, which are the people who came into my home and always come into my home, are the people that I have considered my support systems. So I have also seen what they experience, right? And I always say that they were not just service providers, they became trusted partners, family, extended family, sometimes people I could get to talk to,
Yeah.
right? That's one thing. Another thing is I work as a mental health coach and a parenting coach. So I also see myself as a support person for families
Yeah.
in my professionally, right? And so when I work with parents of children with mild to moderate behavioral challenges, I can see what they are navigating. And I can also see the amount of energy I have to put into them to support them,
Yeah.
right? And then comes my doctoral research on burnout and parental burnout. And so when I look at everything I have seen from different perspectives, I always say that although all these roles, whether DSP, mental health professional, parenting coach, a parent yourself, a family caregiver, all that, although they may seem different on the outside,
Mhm.
they all require the same thing, which is continually pouring into other people.
Yeah.
We are constantly pouring into everybody. As parents, we pour into our children. As DSPs, we pour into the individuals that we support. As coaches and helping professionals, we pour into the people we serve. But no matter the role that we hold, we are constantly giving our time, our energy. We're giving compassion, emotional capacity to people. So,
Yeah.
what I've come to realize is that um, burnout isn't simply just about caring too much. It's actually about giving more than we can replenish. So it's not a workforce thing. It's
Mhm.
actually when we continue to pour out of ourselves without intentionally filling our cups up, then our cups run dry, then we burn out. And so that is why I believe that burnout is a caregiving issue.
Mhm.
So if we see burnout as just if we so I don't see burnout as just a family issue or a workforce issue anymore. I see it as a caregiving issue because whether we are paid or unpaid, we are called to care for people.
Mhm.
But we cannot sustainably care for people or care for other people if we neglect ourselves. And like they always say, you cannot pour from an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to properly see the issue for what it is, we need to go beyond the roles or the fact that it's a job
Yep.
or the fact that it's something we're being paid for, it's a profession or we're a
Yep.
researcher or whatever, and
Yep.
see it more as if we're caregiving and we're pouring into people in whatever capacity, in whatever way it is, if we don't fill our cups up, then we're going to burn out. So that's just what I believe based on everything that I've seen.
Makes all the sense in the world. I mean, I'm just thinking of that imagery, you know, you using the word pouring. We've heard the empty cup and the fill your
Yeah.
bucket, but particularly the word pour. hit me right now, and I look. It's funny. I'm looking at. I got a glass right here, right, and I'm like, I got two
Mm-hmm.
glasses here, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a little visual. Look at this, a little visual. Today's like thought,
Exactly.
right? And when you pour from something,
Yep.
gets
Exactly.
empty. It gets empty. No kidding. But that image and that notion, and you said it. Whether you're, it doesn't matter if you're paid or not. You're pouring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're paid
Mm-hmm.
$1 million an hour. You're still pouring,
For it.
and
Exactly.
something's going to empty. So that said, so
Yeah.
what you believe though is that the burnout ultimately is about that empty vessel
Yes.
and how
Yes.
to replenish it. That
Exactly.
okay, okay,
Exactly. So it's not about the pay. It's not about how much I'm being paid or whether I'm being paid. It's not about
yep,
what my role title is. It's about how am I governing myself
yep,
in whatever capacity I find myself in, so that as I'm pouring, I am being very cognizant of where I am so that I'm not empty.
yep.
That's what it is.
And
Yeah.
think about that. Well, again, this is wonderful because we're going to talk about both parents and families and the DSPs. Um, my goodness, what are the things that, and maybe we're going a little ahead here with the subject, but I don't care. Let's do it. What are the things that they can replenish from that poured vessel with? What are they? What should they do? I guess to get ahead of the burnout, because you're going to have to be pouring, right? You're going to have to be giving. You're going to have to be expending energy, whatever that's physical energy,
Mm-hmm.
psychic energy. Can you? Is it somehow? Is there some kind of way to keep the cup that you're pouring from at least halfway filled?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is where self-awareness becomes very important. We need self-awareness because as family caregivers, as parents, as DSPs, as mental health professionals, as helping professionals, we are constantly on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
It's go, 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 right? From the next client to the next client to the next client, the next shift, as
Yep.
parents, is the next appointment, to the next meal, the next medication, the next therapy. And it's like that go, 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 go. So we spend our life in survival mode and we are stuck in the limbic system, the limbic hijack.
Yes.
And a lot of my research is around that stress part of it,
Yeah.
how we get stuck in that hamster wheel. Because what happens is that sometimes you realize that it's been a whole month and you've just been going. You never stopped to check in and see where you are. So the only way we can get ahead of it is learning to slow down. How do you learn to stop and pause
Oh,
every day, at least once or twice a day, and just check in? We are busy checking in on everybody else because we are externalizing, because we're given, like you said, we're pouring, right? So we're always pouring, it's all external,
yep.
and we are not able to, like you said, I wish I had another cup, take the cup and go like, where's the cup at right now?
Yeah.
Because if I can look at the cup at least and go like, hey, is the cup full? Is it empty? Is it almost dead? Do I need to fill it up? At least I will get information that allows me to know where I'm at and know what I need. Sometimes it's just you need to get another cup of water. Sometimes it means you just need to get some air. Sometimes it means you need to go take a shower. It could be little things like that, right?
Yep.
But how can you do what you need to do to fill yourself up mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychologically, if you haven't even stopped
Yep.
to slow down?
Yep.
And that's where the challenge comes in, right?
Yeah. And let me throw this in because we have struggled with this at the NADSP for forever when it comes to um, this notion of reflection. Because, like you just
Yes.
said, it DSPs are on the go. They go. A lot of DSPs are from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, and then they go home and then they come back and then the next thing, the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very seldom is there reflection time where, let me like an example, right? And I think this deals with also this notion of keeping the cup full. It,
Yeah.
it's to say you're involved in a psychiatric emergency as a direct support professional, and you have assisted a person to de-escalate from maybe a psychiatric crisis, whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe help that person from being admitted to a psychiatric inpatient thing or whatever it might be. And because DSPs are good at that, if they especially
Mm-hmm.
if they work with folks with psychiatric disabilities, they're often they know the folks and they know how to de-escalate situations. So great. So what will happen 9 times out of 10, direct support professional Jackie will help Charlie
Mm-hmm.
get stabilized, whatever that looks like, and then the day goes on.
Yes.
And what happens? And this shame on us as a system. We don't have a moment for Jackie, the direct support
Mm-hmm.
professional, to sit with the supervisor or to even sit with Charlie for that matter to say, hey, man, what just happened? And my goodness, things worked out okay. What can we do better
Mm-hmm.
the next time? I mean, what did I do good here so that you didn't have to go into the hospital this time? That
Yeah.
reflection piece, I believe, is also something that can help keep the cup somewhat full. But DSPs don't get
Exactly.
the opportunity to do that.
Yep.
We don't have that baked in. The day-to-day operations for DSPs, we've got to be better at that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
on a little toot here. I'm sorry, but
Yep, yep. And I totally agree. And it's not even just about sitting with the supervisor or sitting with Charlie to debrief what happened, but sitting with yourself. How can she sit with herself
yeah.
and ask herself, how am I feeling right now? What am I thinking?
Yep.
What's going on with me right now? How does this impact me? What do I need right now
Mm-hmm.
before I go into the next thing? Do I need to take a 5 minute walk? Do I need to breathe it out? Do I need a cup of water? That is the most important thing. Because, like you said, the debrief is still about somebody else, not them.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
Right?
And I mean, those of you that are listening and hearing this, please take that and think about that, in your
Yeah.
organizations, just with yourself. Oh my gosh, what sage advice that is. Oh gosh, we got to move on to the next question. Um, so this is I can't wait for this one. So as a parent and a researcher, you've told us obviously what you do. Your many hats. Um,
Hmm.
Studying parental burnout, particularly. What similarities, right? And we started talking about. You've already started talking about this. What similarities have you
Yeah.
found between
Yeah.
the family caregivers and the DSPs? What are the similarities? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Honestly, I have seen more similarities than differences. I'll say the only difference is the fact that one is paid, one is unpaid. One is a career, one is a family law thing, right?
Yep.
Um, but it's funny because at first glance it might seem different, but they're the same. I believe it. Um, DSPs are professionals. They provide support as part of their career. As a mom, I do it because I love my kids, right? It comes naturally. They're my kids, and I just do it, whether I'm being paid or not, right? Both parents and DSPs care deeply about the people they support. The people, honestly, I feel like the DSPs who have been on the job for long do it because they do care. They really do care. They really, really do care. And we care to the point where we celebrate the victories, we worry about the setbacks, we advocate for the needs. And the funny thing is that we usually also carry the responsibilities that extend beyond what other people see.
Mhm.
So I have had some DSPs who are so good to the point where they will come to my home and they're bringing some of their kids' toys because I didn't have them. So they'll bring stuff from their house because they're like, yeah, I wanted the boys to try this and see if they like it. And that shows how much they care, right? They've taken it personal, right? Both groups also experience chronic stress, and that's the big deal, right? Parents are navigating the medical appointments, the school systems, the therapies, the uncertainty about the future. DSPs are balancing the staffing shortages, documentation, competing responsibilities, emotional demands of supporting multiple individuals. Because the thing about DSPs is that sometimes they're working with 4 different families, which means that in every home, they're experiencing a totally different thing that they have to keep up with. So that can cause a lot of chronic stress because it's an ongoing stress, right? And in both cases, the thing is that most people, whether parents or DSPs, live a life where to them the needs of the person they are supporting comes before them. So they are always putting the needs of the other person before their own needs, right? And I would say that whilst that commitment is admirable, it can also become very dangerous because, like we already talked about it, right? If we are always focused on other people, then the burnout is going to be inevitable. So I'll say those are all the similarities that I have seen when it comes to DSPs and parents. We are constantly pouring, and giving. Yes, one might be paid, one might be a career, but at the end of the day, we are all doing the same thing, right?
Yeah. And I have to ask this because this is something that comes up very frequently with when direct support when we're training direct support professionals. And any trainer in anywhere is going to tell you this. When the direct support professionals asking sometimes about where does their role as a direct support professional stop and their continuation as a human being that
Yeah.
cares about the person that they're supporting, where does that begin? And it could be,
Yeah.
and it we I ask this question a lot. Is it okay for direct support professionals to be friends with
Mm-hmm.
supporting, right? And that's very controversial, and there's a lot of camps about that, a lot of ideas about what that's a right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to talk about that here, but what I'm asking, I mean, does that contribute to, uh, for lack of a better word, the burnout when that direct support professional is just so emotionally attached to the
Yes.
they're working with? I mean,
Yep.
and how do what do you can't turn that off. And Ama, you can't turn that off. What do you do with that?
As you're sharing that, what comes to my mind is the idea of boundaries. And that's why boundaries are very important,
Yeah.
right? Boundaries help us to know how much is too much, how far is too far. Like you said, where do I end and where does the other person start, right? At what point do I know that I have crossed the line?
Yeah.
And boundaries start with us. Sometimes we think that boundaries have to do with the other person, but it starts with us. So it's great that in the training, these conversations are being had. And I think it needs to go beyond that. And we need to start thinking about, or we need to start teaching DSPs to have those self reflective thoughts of, hey, I love this person. I want to go all out.
Mm-hmm.
But how much is too much? How far is too far? At what point do I know that I have crossed the line?
Yeah.
Because when things are escalating in the moment, we are in the emotional brain, so we are not thinking, right? Because the front part of the brain, the
Yep.
prefrontal cortex, is offline. But if we have that plan already in place and we already have those boundaries already thought through, it's easier for us to remember that, this crosses the boundary.
Yeah.
At this point, I need to stop. At this point, this is beyond the boundary. And I'm sure there are regulations and all that, also
Right.
the things
Right.
that they have to follow and all
Sure.
that. But
Sure.
it boils down to boundaries. How do we know how much is too much and how far is too far? Because we are not family.
Yeah.
As parents, we don't, it's hard to say, I have a boundary. I cannot say I'm going to bed if my kid is struggling with something, right? But
Right.
as a DSP, when time is up, they have to go,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They cannot stay beyond it, right? So
Yeah.
boundaries are also very important here. It's something that's really important to consider.
Yeah. I mean, your blood, and it don't, it, you, that's it, man. You're connected forever. Direct support
Yes,
professionals could be, for whatever reasons, be gone the next day.
exactly.
And that's a big difference, darn it. That's a big difference. I got a question real quick. Just on this kind of a side note,
Hmm.
because I hear this a lot, and frankly, it rubs me the wrong way. Uh, I'll hear direct support professionals. Well, I'm their family. Well, we're their family. Because we're their, and the people they're supporting might have actual family members, but
Hmm.
sometimes, and I don't think direct support professionals are saying this with any kind of ill intent. In fact, I think they say it with really good intention. But
Yeah.
what do you think of that as a parent, as a family member, when maybe you've heard this, that direct support professionals will
Yeah.
say, well,
Yeah.
they're my family. Go,
Yep.
go. I'd
To
love to
me,
have your
it's very encouraging because, like I always say, being a person who hasn't had no family where I live, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I have had direct support persons who showed up and acted like family, it felt very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
However, the funny thing is that from the parent's perspective, it can also be very disappointing because then the next day they've been assigned to a different case
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I was getting attached. So it's funny because the boundaries also for me as a parent is very important for me because I have learned not to get attached to anybody.
Yeah.
Because yeah, with us sometimes for some the longest serving has been what? Maybe 4 months, 6 months, and then they're reassigned to something else or they quit or something, right? And
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
so it goes both ways where I have learned as a parent not to get attacked. In as much as sometimes it feels so good to have this person who is so nice.
Yeah.
I have learned to know that they're gonna be gone one day,
And
and that's it, right? But then when they're doing it, it feels good.
yeah.
But then when the day comes and I'm being told, they're not gonna come anymore, then it's like, yeah, here comes the day, and then we have to grieve it and hope for the next person to be good, right?
Yep.
So.
And I think from the perspective of the person that's on the receiving end of that support and the direct support professional deems themselves as and comes with that, well, I'm like your family. Well, that's the word. I'm like your family. I'm not your family because frankly, I could be gone. I could be gone. And that can be traumatic. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said yourself, for you as a
Mm-hmm.
parent, it's disappointing. You got a good staff member, they're gone because their agency has put them in another situation. So, oh, that's another webinar we'll have another time. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
earmark that, Ama. Let's go to this next one here, because this is
Okay.
the crux of the article, right? So I'm going to read the question because it's stated so
Mm-hmm.
boldly here. Parents advocate because they love their children. DSPs advocate because they care deeply about the people they support. Who advocates for them? Who advocates
Yes.
for the advocates? Come on, come on, give us the answers here. What was it? What do we do here? Go.
It's funny because when I was doing the research to write the article and when I was reflecting on it, and then this question popped up in my head, I was like, that is the question that we are forgetting to ask. Everybody is forgetting to ask this question. And I believe that that's the $1 million question. That's the most important question, right?
Yeah.
Because what's happening is that as caregivers, we're naturally wise to look outward, like I said,
Yep.
right? We advocate for the services, all that, everything that everybody else needs. And what happens is that for many caregivers, asking for help feels uncomfortable. We think that when we ask for help, then it makes us look selfish, it makes us look weak, it makes us look incapable. I remember in the earlier part of my journey as a mom with my kids, and I still call myself a caregiver.
Mhm.
Um, I, I would smile through the pain. There are days
Mhm.
when I'm like, I cannot deal with this. I am tired. And I will wake up, put my face on, and I'm going. And everybody thought I was good. Everybody thought that I was healthy. I'm fine. Oh, she's got it. Oh, she's so resourceful. Oh, she's able to do this for them. And her kids have all the things they need. Because, of course, I was busy doing it. But underneath it, I was unraveling.
Mhm.
And then my health started giving up. And then I had to have like a life-changing surgery. And then it was just, I was sleeping with a CPAP machine at a very young age. I wasn't even 30,
Wow.
right?
Oh,
As young, my mom, who's in her 70s, doesn't sleep with a CPAP machine.
wow.
And my health, my everything was just going downhill. So in the picture, my kids were thriving, kids were going out. And I was like that. But then I was keeping a facade that made it look like I was good because I felt bad about advocating for myself. Because what's happening is that we've become so good at advocating for other people that
Mhm.
we've forgotten how to advocate for ourselves. And also because we feel like it's taboo, it's
Mhm.
selfish,
Yeah.
it's not a good thing. But one thing I always tell people is that self-advocacy is not selfish, it's responsible. Right? Because if I'm emotionally exhausted and I'm physically depleted and I'm mentally overwhelmed, it affects how I'm going to show up for my kids,
Yeah.
right? And it's also going to affect how I'm going to show up to the families I support as a mental health coach and a parenting coach,
Mhm.
right? And it's going to affect everybody else. So it's a ripple effect.
Yep.
So, and I always think the same thing is also true for DSPs that if they're running on empty and they're burnt out, it's harder for them to bring the patience, the creativity, the compassion that they need to be able to do the work that they do. So at the end of the day, self-advocacy is not selfish.
Mhm.
Advocating for ourselves means recognizing that our well-being matters too, right?
Mhm.
And it means asking for help before we are in crisis. We don't have to wait till we get to the point where we have no other choice but to ask. We need to start asking for help. Just when we know we need the help, let's ask for the help.
And
It means setting the healthy boundaries, right? Taking the time to rest, giving ourselves permission to be human. Because yes, we might have a label of a caregiver or a DSP, but we are human before that, right? And then another thing else coming to my mind is the idea of it's not also even just about advocating for ourselves, but we also need to see that organizations need to create cultures that prioritize staff well-being
mm,
and the well-being of
mm,
people who have family members
mm.
who need extra support, right?
Talk
It's
more about
very
that,
important.
please. What are some
Yeah.
of your ideas with that? I'd really like to hear that a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I think that it boils down to, there's some laws like FMLA and stuff like that that are there to support people who have family members.
Mhm.
But some organizations I believe, don't really help. Sometimes people don't even know that they can be put on intermittent FMLA. People don't know that, hey, you can go get doctor's report, all that,
Yep.
and then when you
Yep.
need to take time because of your family member, people don't know because the information is not there for them. So these are the little things where if organizations can build these kind of cultures,
Mhm.
then the information is given to employees so that if an employee needs it,
Yep.
they can go for it. Another thing is also with the DSP, community, we need to foster the culture of self-care and allowing people to take time off if they need to,
Yeah.
given good benefits. And I know it's a lot of money to do that, but
Mm.
how do we build the structure of the the placements and all that in a way that these DSPs have breaks built in,
Yep.
right? They can
Yep.
take a break if they need to, stuff like that. It's the little things, right? It's the little things. Can colleagues look out for one another,
Mhm.
right? Or perhaps can we extend grace to people
Yes.
because it's a lot of work, right? So it's little things like that. Seeing that we are constantly pouring,
Yep.
so we also need to support each other in everything that we do,
Absolutely.
right?
You say something really critical there, and what it is, well, the word culture and organizations that employ direct support professionals. Um, and I'll say this, I'll be a little controversial here and a little bit, maybe whatever. Our system is punitive with
Yeah,
direct support professionals. I've
yeah.
seen it firsthand. I hear about it. We see it on Facebook. We know it from direct support professionals, and so that's one thing. Just a punitive culture, which is me. Like for instance, three medication errors and you're fired. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, how do I learn how to do the medication administration better?
Hmm.
But here's the other thing: paid time off, like you just said.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't tell. If I had a nickel for every time that I've heard a direct support professional, well, I got a lot of time banked up, but I can't take it off because my manager won't get me it. Uh, because of the nature of staffing. Uh,
Hmm.
eh, you can't, managers are hard. I'm not blaming managers here. I get it. This is a big old
Hmm.
because of our workforce issues. But things
Hmm.
like taking time off, taking a day off for some direct support professionals, it's like you have to get an act of Congress to get the day off. My gosh, how do we? I don't know how we do it. I don't know. I wish I
Yeah.
had the answer, but it becomes a difficult thing. But what you said, it seems like a simple thing. It's a little thing, but my God, we got to make it so that
Yeah.
can happen, right? Right?
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I'm
Yep.
venting. I'm venting to you. I
Yep.
apologize.
I totally agree with you because, and another thing is we think that keeping us on the job is helping, but we don't realize that it's still breaking the system because then at some point
Yeah.
I am getting burnt out as a DSP. So what happens is that then I quit because I couldn't take it anymore. But what if you had given me time off a month ago and given me that day off, or given me 2 days off, or even giving me an afternoon off? Maybe that could have kept me on the job for an extra 2 weeks.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that one day could have bought me an extra 2 weeks,
Yes.
or even maybe extra 1 month. But because you didn't allow me, I kept going, 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 going. And I ran on empty and I said, I'm done. I can't deal with this anymore.
Yep. It's empty.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. Here's the very dangerous part of that.
Yeah.
You start to make mistakes. You
Yes,
you
exactly.
right? You get tired. You lose your focus. Worst
Yep.
case scenarios, you get neglectful. God forbid you
Yes,
become abusive. I mean,
exactly.
no excuse for
Yep.
abuse. No excuse for abuse. Zero tolerance. No, 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 no. But when you're tired and you do something that's neglectful, that's different. It's not
Hmm.
a neglectful person, but when you're exhausted, when it's empty, um, you may.
Exactly. And then there's the science behind that, because the stress science shows that when I'm stuck in the limbic hijack, which is
Mhm.
that stress brain,
Yep.
the front part of my brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, is offline. And that's the part of the brain that I need to make proper decisions, planning, goal setting, rational thinking. So everything that I need to be able to function on this job lives here. But because I am stressed out, I am stuck in that mid part of the brain, the limbic hijack. And so the front part is not functioning. It's essentially offline. So that is why that break allows me to end the cycle, reset my nervous system, and reopen the front part of the brain. So you see how when you go for a 2 day vacation, even if it's just a weekend, long weekend, you come back and you feel, oh, that was better. At least that allowed me to decompress a little bit, right? Or maybe I got an hour to myself doing nothing. That means nothing that involves pouring into somebody. I come back and I'm feeling better because I got to end that cycle. I got to jump off the hamster wheel
Yep.
and end the cycle to reset to reopen the front part of the brain. So if I'm going, 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 I'm going to start making mistakes because the prefrontal cortex, the front part of the brain, is essentially offline. It's science. So this is not even about us venting. It's the science. It's neuroscience,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
No, beautiful, beautiful. And again, it's another,
Yeah.
well, there we go. There's another webinar we're going to do. Um, oh my God, hold on here. Here we go. Hold on. Back. Here you go. Here's a framework, right? Talk about this four-part framework of preventing burnout, which I love. And again, if you had to choose one, which would it be and why? But talk about each one of these just briefly. But then that last
Yeah.
question, if you had to choose one, what would it be? Go.
So I know we've talked a bit about boundaries already, right? Learning to know when to stop, and then we've talked a bit about the self-care, learning to fill our cup up. Delegation is also one thing that's very important.
Yeah.
Learning to delegate. We cannot do it all. And I think that as DSPs, when we start getting connected to the people we are serving, we start feeling like we have to fix it all.
Yeah.
We personalize everything. It's all on us. It's all on me because I care about this person so much. But we need to realize that they have a family. Some things is for the family. We have a team. We have a supervisor. So we need to know what to give to who and not feel like we have to do it all. And as caregivers too is very important. As a mom, that's one thing I've had to really work on, learning to know what is for me and what is for somebody else. Because sometimes you feel like you have to do it all,
Yep.
right? So that's good. But if I was gonna choose, I would go back to mindful awareness.
Uh-huh.
And it ties into everything that we've talked about so far. It's just, and I'm not talking about yoga or meditation. Those are all
Yep.
forms of mindfulness, but I'm talking about the simple act of stop, pause, check in as
Uh,
often as you can. Slow down. Because what happens is that if I can slow down, then I can know what's going on with me.
yeah.
I can know where my cup is. I can know what I need in the moment to take care of myself. I can know what needs to be delegated. I can know if the boundary has been crossed. I have the self awareness of what's going on around me, what's going on with me, and what needs to be done intentionally. So when we practice that mindful awareness, what happens is that it allows us to be more proactive instead of reactive. Because a lot of times we are reactive, right?
Yep.
Put in our fires. But if I learn to stop, and sometimes it's just a minute, pause, stop. When you feel overwhelmed, stop. So I have my little recliner chair in my office, And anytime I'm feeling like there's 1,001 things, because sometimes I have emails sitting there, I have my research, I have this, I just go sit in there and I stop. Stop. Sometimes I'm like, stop. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Then I pick a paper. I have my little book here that I write everything in.
Uh-huh.
I start making my list. What's going on? What's going on in my brain? That's just turning. Put down your whole brain dump, right? And then that allows you to now know where you are, check in with yourself, and be very intentional about the next best step.
Yeah.
What's the next best step? What's the next thing I need to prioritize? Right? Because if not, again, hamster wheel, hamster wheel, hamster wheel. So if I was to choose, I would choose mindful awareness because it all starts from then. When I'm mindful and I'm aware of what's going on, it's easier for me to set a boundary. It's easier for me to delegate. It's easier for me to take care of myself and do what I need in the moment to fill my cup. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I love it. I wrote it all. I've been writing down. I'm taking notes. Um, I love that stop, pause, check in. Stop, pause. Almost you got to scream at
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
Check in.
Yes,
Um,
very important.
love it. Love
You
it.
know, one thing I always say is that burnout rarely happens overnight.
Uh-huh.
Burnout whispers long before it screams. So mindful awareness is what allows us to hear the whisper, before it becomes a crisis. Because if not, it starts to whisper and then it whispers and then it whispers. And then the day you show up and you're like, I'm done, it wasn't just an overnight thing. It could have been months, sometimes years, sometimes days, right? Because we all have different capacities, right?
Yeah. Say that. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna. Oh, burnout. And this is.
Burnout rarely happens overnight.
I love it. No, no. I wrote it
Burnout
down.
whispers long before it screams.
There you go. Let's say it. Burnout whispers long before it screams. People.
Yes.
That's a quote from Ama Brew. Um,
Maybe
that could be the name of your. That's the title of your next book.
my next book, yes.
Come
Yeah,
on, write
that's a
that
good
book. Write
one.
that book.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I love it because burnout whispers long before it comes in. Here's the thing, really, in all seriousness, I think a lot of direct support professionals they have to begin to learn to listen to those whispers
Yeah.
because I think they get them. They get them. They get them.
Yeah.
When they want to take that day off, that's the whisper. And they need to, and again, this is where I think the whole who advocates for the advocates, right? Who advocates for
Hmm.
the advocates, man. I'm gonna, hey, I'm saying to the supervisors that are listening here, to the program directors, to the administrators that are listening today, you need to step up. Okay, you need to step
Yeah.
up. And you need to, if your direct support professionals are telling you that they're getting whispered to, you better listen to them. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I say that with great love and respect to you, but you gotta step up, administrators and supervisors. Now I'll probably get some nasty emails for that, but I don't care. Um, so look, Ama, what's one message you hope that every direct support professional, every family caregiver takes from this
Yeah.
conversation? What do you got?
Yes. Um, I would say that we are on the same team, right? Families and DSPs may approach caregiving from different perspectives, but we are working toward the same goal.
Mhm.
We all want individuals with disabilities to live lives of dignity, purpose, belonging, and opportunity. We all celebrate their successes, we all grieve their setbacks, and invest ourselves in helping them reach their fullest potentials. I know that sometimes the relationship between families and professionals can become strained, especially when we are all under pressure, right? But when we pause and remember that we are fighting we are fighting for the same outcome, it changes how we communicate and how we collaborate and how we support one another. Another thing I also want to say is that you matter too, right? In the helping professionals or in helping professions or in family caregiving, we believe that our value comes from how much we do or how much we give or what the outcome is. But the truth is that it's not about the outcome. It's about how we can sustainably pour into others, um, and not do it in a way that we get burned out, right? So supporting individuals with disabilities begins by supporting us ourselves. Even if it's paid or unpaid, we matter too. We are very, very important because we do the work. right? So if the focus should be on us first before anybody else, because if we can take care of ourselves and fill our cups up, then we have a full glass or a full cup to give to other people. So I'll say that's the simple message that I have. Yeah.
That's a perfect way to, I think, conclude our discussion today. I want to just thank you so much for obviously, writing this and talking today, but also what you're doing. What you're doing, bringing up your children and raising them in such a obviously very loving way, but your advocacy for the advocates, for the
Mm-hmm.
DSPs. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm going to hear more from you. We're going to hear a lot more from you, Ama Brew. Oh, I rhymed. We're going to hear a lot more from you, Ama Brew. Um, I want to thank always our one of the founders of the International Journal, Angie Nethercott. Thank you to her and to Chanel Salonia, who continue to keep this going, this International Journal thing and the Let's Talk series. Always like to give it. I wish Dave Hingsberger was with us. Dave Hingsberger was the founder of, with Angie, of the International Journal. He would have loved this conversation, Amma. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dave, but Dave was a giant, and we lost him a few years ago. But he talked a lot about the importance of advocacy for advocates, and for families, obviously. But so thanks to those folks. And if you want to know more about anything we talked about, or the journal, or if you want to get in touch with Amma, I'll put your real quickly here. Parent Forge, www.theparentforge.com, if you want to know more about what Amma does and the Parent Forge company that she has. It'd be great. Get in touch with her for that, or get in touch with me for anything else. J. Raphael at NADSP.org. And we want to thank you for tuning in. And we wish you a pleasant day, and keep your cup filled. Get that cup filled, right? Get it filled with good stuff, with good stuff. Um, we appreciate you all. See you down the road.